He left $8 million to charity. And people are like, where did the guy who's mopping the floors get $8 million from? And they figured it out. Like, they dug through his paperwork, and all he did, he saved what tiny money he could from his job as a janitor, and he invested in the stock market, and he left it alone for like 80 years. And that was it. That's all you needed to do. One thing I regret about the book is that I think I inadvertently tried to frame it that Ronald Reed was a hero. And I actually don't think I admire someone who's living a life of destitute poverty with $8 million in the bank. I don't aspire to that. I wish Ronald Reed would have bought himself a nice house and traveled the world. So I used him as an example to say, like, hey, you don't need to be a Harvard MBA from a blue blood family to achieve a lot of success. This janitor did it. But I used him as an extreme example. And I think most people should aspire to a little bit more balance than he had. But just like anything, those extreme examples just highlight what's possible. Yeah. Hopefully you can find more balance than he did. Because I actually don't know if he was that happy in life. I think his frugality was almost like a disease that he put up with. And when he died, he left it all to charity, to a hospital and like a local church. And maybe he got a lot of pleasure thinking about that. But the more I learned about him and read about him, I kind of said, like, no, it's amazing what you did, but I don't look up to that.
How do you think people can find that balance between being good with their money and smart in that they are not spending all of it and living paycheck to paycheck, but then also living life a little and traveling or buying the things that they want?
I think it's so different for everyone in terms of what's going to make them happy. The first class travel for me, I enjoy that, but there's a lot of things that you might enjoy that I would say I'm not. I'm a cheap wine and coffee guy, and I have friends who like could not look themselves in the mirror if they were drinking the wine that I was drinking. But it's totally fine for me. Everyone's got to find their little thing. I do think one thing that people tend to overlook, back to when I was a valet in college, I also noticed this thing where if someone would drive in a Ferrari, I would not look at the driver and say, that guy's so cool. I would imagine myself as the driver, and I would say people would think I was cool. And like that disconnect between like, I didn't care about the driver. I just wanted to be the driver so people would care about me. It made no sense. And then I realized the game that was playing is like, no one's thinking about you as much as you are. Everyone, when you have a fancy car, a nice house, nice clothes, you tend to think everyone's looking at me and everyone thinks I'm cool. And by and large, it's not true. People are thinking about themselves. Yeah. And even when they look at your nice purse, your friends are probably looking at your purse and not thinking Erica's cool. They thought if I had that purse, Erica would think I'm cool. And so once you realize that game, you're like, no one's thinking about you as much as you are. Then you're like, okay, then my aspirations to show off money have come down a lot.